Welcome to Cozy Noah Vibes, where we relax, immerse ourselves in gentle stories, then peacefully fall asleep. I'm your host, Nicole. First of all, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope 2024 will be a year full of health and positive energy, just like every year. This year may come with some challenges, but please remember, in those moments, there will always be someone to support us. Likewise, we can also offer support when others need it. Friends, let's cherish the happy moments ahead. I believe there will be many of those moments. I hope tonight's story brings you happiness and a restful sleep. Tonight, we'll take you to a distant and mysterious place, where we will listen to an ancient fairy tale, The Glass Mountain. You will meet Jamie, a young man from a humble village. His hometown has been locked in ice and snow for many years, and all he knows is winter. However, this hasn't extinguished the flame in his heart. We will join him on a journey that many have failed, relying on just a few simple items. Before we start the story, let's take a moment to relax and prepare for the journey ahead. As you lie in bed, I hope you feel comfortable and warm. Give yourself some time to let go of any lingering thoughts and leave them for tomorrow. Now, focus on my voice. Feel your chest and abdomen rise and fall with your breath. Try to slow down your breathing, which will help your body relax. Now, as you inhale, silently say, "I am," and as you exhale, say, "Calm, I am calm." Repeat this a few times, keeping this rhythm. Now, let's continue, saying, "I am," as the sun gradually dipped below the horizon, casting an orange-red glow over the entire ocean. Peaceful. I am peaceful. Finally, as you relax further, say one more phrase. "I am sleepy. I am sleepy." Let these words accompany you as you listen tonight. Now, imagine a vast land covered in eternal snow and ice. Before you, this white and gray world stretches endlessly. In the center stands a transparent glass mountain, reaching into the clouds. It quietly waits for a brave adventurer to challenge it. Our story begins here. Long, long ago, in a kingdom, winter suddenly arrived and never turned into spring. This harsh winter lasted so long that children grew from birth to adulthood without ever experiencing the thawing of snow. They had never seen trees bloom or felt the warmth of summer sun. These children did not know the existence of other seasons. They listened to their parents and grandparents tell stories of the 4 seasons, but they could not truly imagine them. The soft colors they understood were not in flowers, but in the night sky. The green they knew was only the everlasting hue of the evergreen trees, and much of the landscape was, of course, white, though their elders tried to describe rolling green hills, wildflowers under the sun, and crystal clear blue rivers. The children could only rely on their imagination. The cause of this eternal winter was unknown. But one thing was certain: at the same time that winter arrived, a massive ice mountain appeared in the center of the kingdom. This mountain was so smooth and inaccessible that it became known as the Glass Mountain. Legend has it that the mountain was the work of a wizard who, after quarreling with the king, imprisoned the king and his daughter at the top of the mountain. Around the fire, stories were often told of brave warriors who tried to climb the mountain, bringing gifts to win the heart of the trapped princess. However, reaching the summit was nearly impossible. It was said that a giant, terrifying bird guarded the peak. Every warrior who tried to conquer the mountain failed and was eventually thrown back to the base. Even those who cleverly used axes or ice picks as levers eventually had to abandon their tools to face the giant bird. In the village, there lived a very young boy named Jamie. He grew up in the shadow of this enormous ice mountain, listening to stories and watching one hopeful adventurer after another fail. Like the other children of his generation, he only knew winter. While he was fascinated by stories of summer, he couldn't understand why people longed for it. However, Jamie loved challenges. He was a clever boy with many chores to help his parents maintain their livelihood. But in his spare time, he enjoyed skating on the village pond, drawing elegant circles on the ice, and gazing up at the glittering peak. As he grew older, he dreamed of being the only one to reach the princess. Although there weren't any good girls in the village willing to be his sweetheart, he longed to know what lay beyond his small village. He didn't want to live his life without experiencing an adventure. Jamie thought long and hard about how he could climb the shimmering peak and came up with a plan that was almost absurdly simple. One evening, as he sat at the wooden table in his home eating dinner, he told his parents that he planned to use ice skates as his climbing tools. That way, when the legendary giant bird appeared, he could free his hands to deal with it. His mother was very worried, afraid that Jamie would get hurt because of this crazy plan. His father was equally skeptical, wondering how Jamie could succeed where many more experienced adventurers had failed. To discourage him, his parents bombarded him with a series of questions. How would he deal with the giant bird? What gift could he bring for the princess? Jamie had to admit that he didn't have answers to these questions, but he couldn't shake his determination. He was resolved to start his climb the next day. His mother whispered her concerns to the neighbors, who then quietly told their daughters, who, in turn, told the boys across the street. The news spread quickly throughout the village. When Jamie was ready to set out for the peak, the whole village came out to watch. He carried a backpack with a loaf of bread and a bottle of water, slung his ice skates over his shoulder, and set off towards the mysterious ice mountain, ignoring the stares of the villagers. As he walked the path leading to the mountain's base, he took a deep breath and steadied himself, paying no mind to the curious villagers following him. He repeated his plan over and over in his mind. It was simple. He would climb using the ice skates, and when the giant bird attacked, he would protect himself with his hands or drive it away. When he reached the mountain's base, he brought nothing else. The surrounding forest stood silently, covered in shimmering snowflakes. Each step made a loud noise, which stood out in the stillness. Thud, thud, thud. His boots seemed to say to the void. This rhythm calmed him, and he gradually entered a meditative state. Suddenly, a smooth ice wall loomed before him, with no visible handholds or footholds. Jamie knew the villagers were watching him from the forest. He set down his ice skates, took off his backpack, then sat on a large rock, removing his boots and putting on the skates. He placed the boots in his backpack because he imagined he might still need them when he reached the summit. Then, he turned to face the start of his journey. He began to carefully climb the seemingly impossible mountain, his hands gripping the surface like a rock climber. The blades of his skates made a slight scraping sound as they cut into the ice surface while he struggled to maintain his balance. With his first few attempts, he gradually found his rhythm and climbed higher and higher. By this time, the sky above the village had turned a deep blue. The last light of the day reflected off the glass mountain he was climbing. He looked up and saw the giant bird soaring in the distance, but he didn't stop. A cold wind howled past him, and Jamie clung tightly to the ice to avoid potential danger. He felt the wind grow even more bitter. But he continued onward, his eyes fixed on the path ahead. Suddenly, the bird let out a sharp cry and swooped down. Jamie held his breath, looking up at the majestic figure of this enormous creature. But he did not yield. With all his strength, he swung the weapon in his hand to fend off the legendary guardian. Blow after blow, the battle raged for hours until the bird's wings finally halted in its last dive. Jamie had finally succeeded. Exhausted, but filled with joy and a sense of accomplishment, he reached the summit. Below him, the village lights twinkled, and in the distance, the sky began to glow with a pinkish hue. He shouted out in celebration of his victory, and the echoes resounded through the valley. It is said that after that day, the kingdom's winter finally ended. The ice and snow melted, flowers bloomed again, and the princess who had been trapped was finally rescued and reunited with her father. It held a grand celebration to thank Jamie for his courage. Jamie became a hero, not only bringing new life to himself, but also to the entire kingdom. He felt the warmth of the summer sun and witnessed the beauty of spring firsthand. From that time on, whenever people faced challenges, they would remember Jamie's story. In this land once locked in ice and snow, his name was forever remembered. This story reminds us that with faith and courage, even in the most difficult times, we can find a way to overcome obstacles. Even when facing seemingly insurmountable challenges, we can achieve success. hope this story has brought you peace and encouragement. Now, as you drift off to sleep, remember that even in dreams, the world remains full of possibilities. Thank you for listening today, and I wish you a good night's sleep. See you next time. Good night, sweet dreams.